And you see, we read from scripture and we get to know that Christ has been given dominion over things, over the world, because after the cross, he has been given dominion. Now think about it. You see how the world is today. Imagine if Satan was still in group, if Satan still had power over this earth. If Satan could still go out there and attend meetings, just as we see in Job, because he had dominion. He had stolen the dominion from Adam and Eve when they sinned. And from that time till the cross, Satan had dominion. When the sword could not end the Christian church, the enemy tried another method of attack. He attempted to make Christianity popular in the state and to bring pagan rites and ceremonies into the church. Temporal prosperity and worldly honor were far more dangerous than persecution. Soon, paganism was blended with the teachings that Christ taught. The worshippers of idols joined the church and nearly changed the objects of worship from pagan idols to images of Jesus and the Virgin Mary. Now, Constantine was baptized. And guess what? Christianity was in for a smooth ride. In AD 321, Constantine issued a decree. I'm not going to talk about it. I would like you to find out and write in the comment section. So he issued a decree in AD 321. Thus we see how the state attempted to make people good by law, and how pagan days and ceremonies crept into the church. Most of the Christians did not realize the danger, and they accepted the compromise between Christ's teachings and paganism. Soon, the church lost its purity and the truth was corrupted. Little by little, paganism filtered into the church. The simple faith was lost as Christians became powerful and wealthy in business and government. In AD 476, the barbarian tribes in the north overthrew the Roman Empire, and in the struggle, the head of the Christian church at Rome, known as the Pope, became the head of the church generally. Soon, the Pope became so powerful that even kings were afraid of him. Mind you, these kings are the very kings who handed the power to the Pope. As a representative of the Christian church, the Pope was considered supreme in matters of faith and morals. The Bible was not placed in the hands of churchmen, partly because only few handwritten copies were available in those times, but mainly because the church leaders were afraid the Christians would study the Bible and find out that many doctrines, such as the worship of saints, the immortality of the soul, purgatory, were not taught by Christ. By the 6th century, the Roman leaders held power over most of the Christian churches. The strong organization was known as the Papacy, with the Pope as the head. In 538 AD, papal power became supreme. For a period of 1,260 years, as Daniel prophecies foretold, the Roman Catholic Church held sway over kings. Now, it is this period that we would need in order to understand Revelation chapter 11. The 1,260 years papal power held sway over the kings, ruled, starting from AD 538. These are the very years we need for Revelation chapter 11. Now, by this secular authority, the church forced the followers of Jesus to choose either the false doctrines and ceremonies or the pagan doctrines and ceremonies of Catholicism, or to suffer imprisonment, perhaps death by the sword. This long period of history is what we call the Dark Ages. A term now in disfavor because it implied lack of culture and scholarship. They were learning in the medieval universities, but spiritually, times were dark. Christians were taught that salvation of Christ came only through the sacraments of the church, through blind allegiance to authority and the liberal payments of money. They hoped to escape hell and win their way out of purgatory. Indulgences, which were remissions of temporal punishment for sin, were sold to raise money for the church. Wow. And even in some cases, they were sold in advance as permission to sin. Wow. Church history, I think we all need to read church history for ourselves and understand how the church has evolved over the years. Because, you see, in order to understand Revelation, we will need history. Because Revelation talks about present, past, and future. In order to know Revelation is accurate, the interpretation we are given to Scripture, to Revelation's prophecy is accurate, you will need to know whether the things that Revelation talks about as what happened, past, Have they happened? And when we get to know that these things happened exactly as prophecy predicted, then we can trust that our interpretation and prophecy itself is accurate. So we need to understand history. We need history. Prophecy students need to understand history. Yes, if you want to understand prophecy, you need to understand history. Yes, soldiers who were involved in wars waged by the church were given forgiveness, blessings, past, present, and future. Can you imagine? Wars waged by the church. So in killing the saints, these soldiers were forgiven for killing the saints. Wow. So during the those dark centuries, Europe made little progress in arts and science. This is to tell you that slavery was not just about blacks. You see, when we read history, we get to know that most of the nations we see today were all colonized. They were enslaved. And so slavery or Christianity did not bring about slavery, but people wanted to make it look today. Christianity never brought about slavery. In fact, the people who carried Christianity themselves had to pay the price with their own lives. You understand? Because Christianity was never easy. We could actually blame it on false Christianity. Yes, because if Christianity had come in its pureness, in its purity, then it would have been quite easy. You wouldn't have gone through the experiences anymore. But yes, read history and see that the worlds that are doing so well today were enslaved. You see, back then it was all about power, gaining control over the world, becoming a great kingdom and then having dominions. You see, and so everybody, if it happens that your opponent is weaker, you dwell on your weakness and then you get what you want. You get them to serve you. That's how it has been from the beginning. After sin was introduced into the world, people became selfish. We are all selfish. We became selfish and all we wanted was to rule. We wanted to rule. You see, Satan in the garden told Adam and he told the woman Eve. You see, when Satan said, God does not want you to eat from the fruit because he knows that the day you eat, your eyes will be opened. He was literally implying that God was there. He was he's a person. He was there. He's a being behind. He was there. But he wasn't God until he came across the eat of that same fruit and become a king. That was what Satan was implying. And human beings. Yes. They wanted to be like God. And so we ate from the fruit. And today, we've done everything possible to let people know that yes, we are good, we are better, we are on top. That is how it has been from the onset. We want to be like God. Because we were told to be like God. That is how it has been from the onset. And so it was never about Christianity. Christianity has not done anything to anyone. They have rather been a blessing. See, all of this, all that is happening, we know that Satan is behind all that's happening. And if you read from scripture, then we get to know that Christ has been given to me over things over the world. Because after the cross, he has been given to me. Now think about it. You see how the world is today. Imagine if Satan was still in rule, if Satan still had power over this earth. If Satan could still go up there and attend meetings, just as we see in Job, because he had dominion. He had stolen the dominion from Adam and Eve when they sinned. And from that time till the cross, Satan had dominion. So we read the Old Testament and we see what happened. We see even when Christ was born, we see how the devil tried to kill him. We see how nations rose against other nations and destroyed them. In history, in scripture, we see all of this. So imagine if it was still the same today, if Satan had the power over the world, if he was the prince of this world today. Imagine what happened. Even today that he is no more the prince of the world. See how evil this world has become. Even today that he is not the prince of the world. See how evil this world has become. So it is never and it is never Christianity. Because it is the great controversy between good and evil, between good and evil. Yes, we are just spectators, and unfortunately we've been involved in the conflict, and at this point there is no way of escape. So as it seems, there is no way of escape, but we do have an escape, Christ Jesus. I want you to turn to him today and we'll have fun. Yes. Like living streams, he's coming to restore creation. Everything